Hey, hey. Hello, hello. Good morning, good morning. I'm saying everything double. I'm saying everything double. Silly me. I know. So, good morning. Welcome to the Destination Decluttered TikTok Live for the morning of Thursday. I'm always looking over here at my calendar. Thursday, February 22nd, 8 a.m. Eastern. Good morning, everybody. Let's try to do an hour today, shall we? Yesterday I was feeling kind of under the weather. I'm still not 100%, I will say, but I do currently feel better than I did yesterday. So that's good news. But regardless, I'm here for you. Hello, Elle, and Ms. Ma'am, and Gnome, and Rachel, and Teresa, and Diane, and Gigi, and Concert Mom, Ms. Ma'am, Julie B. All the people are tuning in. Here's an interesting thing. Okay, nasty cold virus going on. Yeah. Yeah, you know what? The German Maid, so German Maid, in case any of you don't know, I have a Destination Decluttered email mailing list. And what I do for the people on the mailing list as a thank you for giving me their email address is I do a monthly free Zoom call. It gives people the experience, just a little taste of what it's like to do one-on-one coaching, because I do my one-on-one coaching with clients via Zoom. And it was good, but it happens every month. So German Maid, there'll be another one next month. Now, trust me, I have no idea when next month is going to be, but it will happen. And there we go. Okay, Nurse Ellen to say good morning from my cold vacation in Florida. That's no fun. Here in the morning, same as New York. Yeah, isn't that kind of the rub? You know, it's kind of the rub. You know, you go away to someplace that's allegedly warm and it's as cold as home. Oh, Robin, nice to see you. Great call last night. I'm glad you think so. Yeah. Good morning, Jesse from LA. Oh, you're up nice and early. I'm here for the next hour or so, and I'm here to help you with your clutter. You know, I had to go into the office today. You know, hey, there you go, going into the office. I am here to help you with your clutter. Here's a couple things that I can do to help you with that. One is if you have any questions, if you are stuck somewhere in your decluttering process, pop that question in the message in the comments that are scrolling by, and I will do my best to answer them. The other thing, and Catherine, no worries, you have to leave early. Trust me. What I do is not a requirement. It's a nice to have, but also life happens. So sometimes you can't stay for a whole thing. It's totally fine. Just like yesterday, I had a shorter than expected TikTok live because I just wasn't feeling well. Another thing I can do to help you with your clutter, you know, besides encourage you to have me as your one-on-one coach, because that really, to me, in my mind, is the quickest, you know, way to get, you know, like when you're stuck and you have somebody on your call to get started who also teaches you stuff. That's really cool. But and thank you. I am feeling a little bit better today. I realize as I'm talking that I sound a little bit congested, which is interesting. But I also honestly just kind of got up because it's 8 o'clock in the morning here, and I was trying to, you know, make myself feel better. Here's another thing that these TikTok lives can do that I want to offer to you that folks have told me has been helpful is even last night. So I did my Destination Decluttered email mailing list, destinationdecluttered.com/join. If you want to join, we did our free Zoom, and somebody on the Zoom. I apologize if you're here. I am just not good with hanging on to names. But they said when I do the Zoom, they actually go and they use that time to clean while they're listening to me. And I I often suggest that you don't need to see what's going on here on the screen when I'm doing this TikTok live. The only thing I'll probably do is gesticulate wildly, and I'll be moving my hands around to, you know, get a point, but ideally my words will help with that. Notice I'm also using my hands to say the words. And I'll probably point to this thing behind me that talks about life being a road trip. And every day we kind of start at a different, you know, we start and we're on our way to our destination decluttered. But since you don't need to watch what I'm doing, that frees you up to, I don't want to say putter around, but wait, you can totally putter around, you know, little dribs and drabs of neatening up. When I coach, I talk about 3 levels of clutter: surface, stored, sentimental. Now with each one of those, notice, I guess I would say if you're not watching, but I'm just kind of putting, you know, the very surface is up the top. Your stored is kind of in the middle, and then your sentimental is kind of at the deepest level of clutter. That's the one that every time I talk about it, I have my hand near my heart. And a lot when you get into the surface, when you get past the surface and into stored and sentimental. It is really important for you to feel good about the decisions you're making and to listen to yourself when you have a conversation. Saying something like, what is this? Why do I have it? If I want it, where's a better place for it than here? If I don't want it, where's a better place for it than here? That's kind of like the 1, 2, 3 La Conga type of thing. But I say that because I encourage you to use this time together. That surface clutter, putting things back where they belong, tidying up, dishes in the sink, anything that you can use this time for, instead of just being kind of a, letting this info wash over you and saying, oh, that sounds great. In theory, I'll do it. If you're able to, if your schedule allows and what you're doing allows, please feel free to use this time to get yourself up and going declutter-wise at a pace that feels right to you and working on whatever feels right to you. Okay? So I just want to offer that. Okay? Now, enough of me yakking. I'm really here for you. Okay. I love it. Okay, so somebody else is at Abbott Elementary is in good morning from a not as cold as Connecticut, Florida. Hey, not as cold as Connecticut. Sounds awesome. Embarrassed to say, got to learn how to Zoom. Okay, watch 3 videos Tuesday, clean 10 books, 3 hours. Okay, Cat Mama, wonderful thing. You know what the really neat thing is I've found is I don't know how to do a lot of the technology things, but I've learned about it. So Zoom is pretty easy, and what we do on the monthly Zoom is such a low-key kind of way of learning about things. I walk people through it all the time. But I would love for you to just think of, everybody, think of what you do now. If you never learn anything else, you're just going to be kind of stuck where you are. If you don't know how to Zoom and you don't want to learn, or you're struggling to learn it, there are some opportunities that are available to you only through Zoom, like my coaching or this monthly Zoom, that you won't be able to get to. Same thing with decluttering. There is absolutely no shame, though technically there's a lot of shame involved in clutter because people are ashamed of their clutter and feel like they should know how to do it on their own. What I want to offer is shame is kind of a useless behavior. It just it just keeps you stuck or spinning your wheels instead of getting going and asking for help. So I say that because there's nothing wrong with learning skills that you just haven't learned before. I never really quite realized how much that it was one of those things that the reason I spent so many decades of my life struggling with clutter and collecting things and not knowing where they should go, and so I'd put them in a room and I'd shut the door and I'd deal with them later. It's because of the way I grew up. It's funny because my clients will have, some people will have a parent, in their home that cleaned everything, so they don't know how to do it. But they also have parents that struggled with clutter that then they raise them up like that. So it's a skill, okay? It is a skill. What do we have? Okay. Oh, interesting. Okay, Chrissy C. Jump. I just saw something from you. Here we go. Casey Kim Walker. I need you in my life. Here I am. I'm in your life right now. Get inspired. Actually, even before I even start answering some of these questions, one of the things I think is so important, and this is the reason I call my coaching Destination Decluttered, is think of your life like a road trip. Think of everything. Any project you have, think of it as a road trip. Destination, decluttered home. Destination, better career. Destination, finding a mate. Destination, enjoying myself while I'm getting ready for a party. Whatever it is, if you are excited about, if you are being propelled forward towards something you're excited to do, that will make it easier for you to get up and get started. But if you're dreading what's ahead, if you don't see the reason you're doing it, if you're like, I don't even know why I'm decluttering, it just always comes back and I'm discouraged and it's so much effort and I'm overwhelmed, then that's not gonna give you the oomph, the tiger in your tank, as I like to say, to get you going. Okay, so whatever you're doing in your life, here's a wonderful, because I'm a certified life coach as well as a decluttering coach, is think about what you're headed towards. Are you excited about it? Are you, like, I always use the 2 examples of, do you feel like you're driving towards the beach or to the dentist? Now, sorry, dentists, I think I'm going to the dentist next week, but you have to do something to go to some of those. When you are going towards something you're interested in and want to get there, you will be more likely to show up when the going gets tough. Going gets tough. Now I feel like Billy Ocean. The tough get going. Okay. Now, okay, so Chrissy is saying, I get so overwhelmed with stuff. I'm pushing my husband out of his space. And Casey Kim is saying the same too. Okay. All right. Christy's saying 55 and go to overwhelmed. Okay. Kathy, I'll get to you in a moment. I'll ask the question about me. Okay, so I love it when people are connecting. This is a really wonderful thing. I am so about connections, connecting ideas, just connecting people like this. So I love it when people can meet each other in the comments here and kind of feel like you're not alone in the clutter. The people that show up here, everybody, so many people struggle with clutter. Even the people that's houses on the surface look good. You may go to open up a drawer or a door and they may not be cluttered. Now, I'm not saying everybody is, but so many of us are. It's because of the way we grew up. It's what we learned or didn't learn. It's about the society we live in. It's about the time in the society we live in. Think about it. 150 years ago, I'm not going to do the exact math, but in the 1820s, nobody's family had as much stuff as we do. At the end of World War II, during World War II, let me just put this into kind of a bit of a historic perspective to notice this. Prior to World War II, there were certain, factories that made certain things, and we had a bit of a kind of the consumerist capitalist society to an extent. However, during World War II, in the United States, many factories were I almost said born, but they were developed in order to make items for the war. Once the war was over, a lot of those factories retooled themselves into churning out a lot of consumer goods. That's why in the 50s and things like that, you'll see that kind of quick turn of, one black Model T wasn't good enough. It was like, oh, you have last year's color. Here's this year's color. Here's this. Think about how many toys there were in the 1950s and 60s and beyond that didn't even really exist when people were growing up in the 20s or 30s. All those cartoon-based ones, the Flintstones and what's his name? Howdy Doody, things like that. There was a proliferation, an abundance, an overabundance of items on the market to tempt you to buy them. We live in this world, and we're also encouraged by our society to, if you feel bad, go buy yourself something. Treat yourself. Now, trust me, I treat myself like nobody's business, but if that's all you know how to do to make yourself feel better, then your house is going to get full. So do not become overwhelmed. You are here. You are within, you've got friends here. It's a wicked nice bunch of people. I rarely, if ever, get trolls, and if we do, we shoo them away and people report them, which is wonderful. But here's a good hack, and those of you who have been on a TikTok live before know this, but everything bears repeating. Repetition is doing something over and over again that kind of allows you to think in this way. And I would love to share with you, if you think of the word overwhelm, first overwhelm, it's over your head. I feel over my head. Think of the word over, and notice where I'm putting my hands. For those of you not watching, my hands are above, I got my hands in the air, and I just don't care. Overwhelm, the opposite. I love playing with the opposites. You can notice, you can stop, and you say, wait a minute, let me do so, stop, hammer time, and then you do something else. What's the opposite of overwhelm? Think of the word down. I don't have my new mug with me. I made a new mug that has this on it. And I want you to think of just calming down your nervous system. When you feel overwhelmed, you're looking at the entire picture. You're looking at everything in a wide angle lens. You're looking at my whole house, all this stuff. That can feel overwhelming. It can feel overwhelming, and then when you feel overwhelmed, you're less likely to start because the task seems insurmountable. I can't climb that mountain. What I want to suggest is slow down, breathe down, calm down, quiet down, all the downs. Work on your nervous system first, and then chunk down what you're thinking of. Instead of thinking, I'm going to do all this, say, I'm going to start at this little bit right here, and I'm going to get started. Another wonderful way to chunk things down is to write stuff down. Get the thoughts out of your head, down on paper. So instead of swimming around like a pot of spaghetti, that you can do that, okay? So know that overwhelm is a feeling, but when you recognize it, now you have something to think of and do when you feel overwhelmed. And it works. It works. Give it a shot, and it's free. Breathing and slowing down and quieting down and saying, ooh, this makes me feel like, this is too much, when it's not too much. But when I say, but if I'm only going to I'll do 20 minutes today, I'll start. Getting yourself from stuck to started is usually the hardest part. Once you're up and doing something, you're more likely to kind of have momentum and stay in that. Okay? So you're not alone, and you now have a tool to help you with the overwhelm. Now, Kathy Mormon is asking, have you always been organized, or what was your moment you changed? Sure. No, I haven't always been organized. I grew up in a totally cluttered household. My parents both didn't come from money at all, but they actually did okay because they were the first people in their families in their entire lives to go to college. So they were in that kind of era of people that, they did okay for themselves, and therefore they had much more money than they did, but they still came from a lot of lack. So I think what happened was, first of all, I've learned from my aunt that my grandmother also struggled with clutter. So my mother probably didn't have a good role model in my grandmother in that respect, because my grandmother had like freaking 7, 10 kids, something like that. And when you have more money, you can buy more things. So sound familiar? If you have money, you can buy things. Yet, when you don't know what to do with them, when you get them, you haven't established a home for it. You don't know where to put it. Maybe you're distracted and things like that, then things can get cluttered. Now, I think I've always been kind of bothered by the clutter somewhat, even though I was cluttering myself. I remember tidying things up. I remember making forts. Does anybody remember making a fort when you were a kid with like a blanket and some cushions and things like that? I remember making even a fort underneath my bed and have my little AM radio there, and I had a little snack, and it was my cool little space. When you don't have a lot of control over what's going on in your life, you can gravitate towards, well, I can't do anything about the clutter, but I mean, what else is going on? But I have control over this. So my room always looked really cool. I wallpapered my bedroom in the 80s, and I had posters up, and it was pretty cool. I've always had a knack for that kind of visual, making things look good. But it wasn't until I fell into some jobs that showed me some skills, like fronting and facing and high to low and color theory and all that, and problem solving. And what was that last job I had? Like a process engineer. All of these things tended to teach me some skills to create order out of chaos. But it wasn't until I really applied those to my life that I got decluttered. I know now how to do it. It is easy, and it is so much easier to maintain my house now that it has less clutter in it. And so I just was like, oh, I have always liked to also discover something and share it. Oh my gosh, look at this thing that I discovered. Let me share it with you. So that's why I am here. I have found an easy way that wasn't I learned through trial and error, but I want to help you with that. And so that's why I am here. Oh, there we go. Michelle says you made forts. Yes, forts. There we go. I love it. Okay. Okay, yeah, so Sam says I get overwhelmed and then go take a nap because I don't know what to do first. Okay, here's a fun thing. Sam, thank you for this. And Chrissy is saying, do you have a lot of people who are older and went without? Yes, and I have younger people who went without. It is a mindset. It is a nervous system thing. My mother is 83, going to be 83 like next month. And I know that part of her doesn't realize the abundance she has in her life, that she still feels like that poor little kid from back in the day. And so therefore she keeps on grabbing onto stuff and holding onto it. Like, no, what if I need that? You don't realize how much the things in your past affect you right now, but it's true. It's how we're sometimes wired. And unless you notice that and then consciously do something else to fade down that unhelpful thought and feeling and turn up the color on what you would rather feel, that is a process. That's what coaching helps you with. But yeah, think about that. Why do you hang on to something? I might need that someday. I might wear that someday. Notice even my hands going like kind of that clutchy. Okay. Okay, so Sam was talking about getting overwhelmed and then not knowing what to do and then going for a nap. I love going for a nap myself. But notice this. You have a thought that says, I don't know what to do. Okay? Everybody, when you think of clutter, do you know what to do? Here's the thing. You have a thought that says, I don't know what to do, so you don't do anything. Self-fulfilling prophecy. I don't know what to do. End of sentence. But I want to offer to you, instead of being judgy and kind of shutting it down, I don't know what to do, so I'm not going to do anything. I know you know how to do something to get yourself decluttered. Now, you may not know about everything. That's fine. But you know where certain things go in your house. The trash is in the trash, the recycles in the recycles, the dishes in the cabinet, the clothing in the drawers. You do know some things. Those can get you started. So remind yourself that this is the life coaching part of this, is that you have a thought in your head, I don't know what to do, that makes you feel a feeling, overwhelmed, discouraged. And when you feel overwhelmed and discouraged, you're probably less likely to do something, to take action with your hands, to move things around. When you consciously create a better thought, I always think of the opposite because it just makes it like, I don't even know. But you say, okay, what's the opposite of I don't know what to do? I don't know how to do everything, but you know what? I know how to do some things. Doesn't that make you feel a little bit more encouraged? And when you think better and feel better, when you feel some courage, even a smidge of it, you're more likely to get up and do something. Okay? Now the whole process, the cool thing is at least the way I coach, is what I call like the lather, rinse, repeat method, where you learn a process in one area, and then you do that same process in the other one and the other one. So the repetition helps you. And then so when you show up, you're like, oh, this is a lot, but I know what to do. I know what to do. Try that on for size. Doesn't that feel better? Say, I know what to do. Now, I may not know everything, but I know some things, and I know enough to get me started. Okay? Hope that helps you, Sam. Okay? All right, here I go. I'm scrolling. Where do we go? Casey says, your demeanor and calm are really welcoming. Thank you. I realize myself, Casey, I will share with you. I don't respond well to bullying or yelling or that kind of tough love kind of drill sergeant type of thing. I am a sensitive soul. So I will cry if you yell at me. Actually, I used to. I still will. But also, right now, I'd probably yell back because I don't deserve to be treated like that. But I know that not everybody responds positively or beneficially to being yelled at. Just do it. Come on, knuckle down, buckle down. It's not as easy as that. But when you can quiet down and calm down, it's like a little kid. We all are kind of little kids. And, hey, what's wrong? I don't know what to do. Yeah, you do. You know what to do. You can do something. Think of something you can do. Is all your trash in the trash can? No. All right, well, why don't you put the trash in the trash can? Oh, okay. It's a different way of approaching things to get the result you want. You want a home, and you want to also enjoy the process. Can you imagine being on a road trip from Pennsylvania to Palm Springs, California, and the person next to you in the passenger seat, the co-pilot, that's what I think of myself as, was yelling at you the whole time? Well, you may get to where you want to go. Get up, come on, we're driving for 6 hours today. F that. That's not going to make you enjoy the drive. I want you to enjoy the process. I want you to enjoy learning more about yourself. And when you show up and do it because you want to and because you're seeing the positive difference, you start to talk to yourself nicer. I bet a lot of what stops many of us is unhelpful thoughts and feelings, talking negatively to yourself. And when you can learn to recognize that, to stop it, to do something else and be like, okay, what's the flip side? What's the opposite? That can help you. And not just with the clutter, but with life. Yeah. Okay, so Chrissy is asking, how do I help people? Is it on my page? Yeah, so destinationdecluttered.com is my website. And pretty much I do one thing. I keep it simple. I do one-on-one coaching via Zoom. And I have a 10-session package. But 10 sessions may not get you where you want to go. That's fine. I have clients who are on their second, on their third, on their fourth. We work at a pace that works for you. The amount of stuff you have going on in your house, in your life, the energy you have, all of those things. And if you're interested in me being your one-on-one coach, that's my paid coaching. DestinationDecluttered.com is my website, and there's big orange buttons that say like schedule a consultation today. A consultation is free. It's just an informal conversation that we have over Zoom to help us both discover what you're struggling with clutter-wise, so that I can make a determination of if what I offer would help you. If it does help you, and then you'd like to hear about coaching, I tell you about the coaching, and then I ask you to make a decision saying, based on what you're struggling with and if my coaching can help you, would you like to work together? And if you say yes, we do some paperwork, get some money heading my way, and we put it up on the calendar and make it happen. Okay? So that's my paid thing. But I also do these TikTok lives. These are recorded and uploaded to Destination Decluttered on YouTube. And also, as I mentioned earlier, there's a destinationdecluttered.com/join is the mailing list. And the mailing list is really the main goal of that is to give people who are interested in what I'm doing, but not necessarily ready to commit to one-on-one coaching, because I know, because I charge money, that it may not be for everybody, but it's for many people. I do a monthly free Zoom call for the people on the mailing list, because I want to help. And so that's how I do things. I hope that helped you. Okay, there we go. What else do we have? Oh, interesting. Okay, people are getting into some good stuff here. There we go. Oh, just Michelle. Where was it? Somebody said something about a list. I have a lot of stuff with no problem with trash. Trash goes in the trash. Yes. Okay, the other thing too is trash in the trash. That's surface clutter. Surface clutter is usually pretty straightforward. But once you get into stored clutter or sentimental clutter, that's when it helps to have a conversation with yourself. Up here in your head and here in your heart, and I say heart as like the blanket for like your nervous system, your energy, your zing, like I'm activated. Here's what I want to suggest is having that conversation with yourself. These are the questions you ask, just to get yourself started. What is this item? What is this? All right. Do I want it or not? Do I want to have this thing in my home and in my life or not? Right there. Major question. You can ask yourself. I will share this one with you because I have a client, an ex-client of mine who has continued to get in touch with me every time she shares this nugget from our coaching with friends of hers. Here's an acronym. BUS, bus. Think of a bus. We're on a road trip, there's a bus. Do I want to keep this? Well, do I think it's beautiful? Do I think it's useful? Or is it sentimental? If it's beautiful, I want to display it somewhere. If it's useful, I might want to put it in a drawer, so I can use it when I need it. Pens or spatulas, things like that. Or is it sentimental? Maybe I want to have it on display, or I might just, tuck it away. But you answer yourself, do I want this thing in my life or not? If I want it in my life, if the answer is yes, I want to keep it, where's a better place for it to live than where it is now? If I don't want this, what's a better place for it to go than my house? It can be and is as easy and simple as that. I don't like to overcomplicate things because I get overwhelmed with too many steps and too many, questions and whatever. And I learned that about myself. I'm like, okay, I'm good. Too much. And then I kind of, if I'm not paying attention, I have to bail. So I have kept my coaching so simple, so memorable, so easy. So you don't get overwhelmed by the process and you say, okay, but what you have to do in order for it to be successful is get to know yourself, getting to know you, and say to yourself, do I want this in my life or not? Now, I may have wanted it in the past. Do I want it today in my current present? Or do I anticipate I'm going to want it in the future? Having that conversation with yourself so it gets going. All right, what else do we have? Oh, thank you, L.A. Mandela, saying, I love your content. It is so helpful for me. Thank you, and I appreciate you. Well, I appreciate you letting me know that. Because notice when you tell me something good, it makes me feel good, and I show up more for these things. Okay. Yeah, okay, so yeah, Carissy says, I have clutter spots. I keep my floors clean, laundry and dishes done. Just don't go upstairs. Yeah, this room that you're in that right now used to be that room that when we would have people over, we would shove stuff into and be like, don't go in that room. It happens to many of us. But notice what you're doing is probably the stuff that's in that room. Everybody, the stuff that you are struggling with clutter-wise is because you haven't made a decision about it. You say, oh, I will make that decision later. I can't deal with it now. It's overwhelming. It activates my nervous system. I don't know. So I will put it in another room and shut it, and I will deal with it later. And what I help you do is walk through that deal with it later process. Okay? What else do we have here? Oh, there we go. Abbott Elementary. Yeah. Planned to unpack bag from trip while listening to TikTok Live. Done and feels so good. Yes. Use this time, everybody. It's 8:29 in the morning. We've got about 31 minutes. What's something little you can do in the next even 5 minutes that's going to make you feel better about what's surrounding you? Now, if you have a lot of clutter, it will take you longer than if your house is in fairly good condition. Just because it's going to take longer does not mean it's not a journey worth getting onto. In a journey, notice that notion of journey. I used to kind of gag when I was getting into life coaching because there's so much wording that just makes me want to roll my eyes because I'm like a Gen Xer from New England. So I'm like, oh God, here we go. Whatever. I'm on a journey of self-discovery. Ah. However, you really are on a journey of self-discovery. You're on a road trip trying to figure out what you want in your life, because when you know what you want, it's so much easier to get, because you can easily say no to the stuff that isn't that, and you're making space for the stuff that you do want. Okay? All right, KK 0148, my mail clutter on my table. Why don't, even right now, grab your mail. Here's a nice way to sort it out, okay? You probably got your junk mail, and then you've got your kind of important mail. So junk mail goes in the recycle bin, and then open up your kind of important mail, the stuff that looks official, and open it up. Do the following: open it up and recycle the envelopes immediately. Do not tuck it back in the envelope. Also, if it comes and it's folded in threes, spread it out and actually look at it. Right? You don't necessarily need to do anything else other than that right now, but taking it out of the envelope is something a lot of people struggle with. Oh, I'll deal with that later. No, just open it now. And open it now so you know what you're dealing with. You may not need to take the action right now, but that you won't know what you need to do with it until you open it up and see what it's asking you for. Okay? So even just doing that now, that may be different from what you used to do or you are doing. Different habits will help you create a different life. Okay? You know? There we go. Michelle is saying, I had a horrible time with mail, but I'm doing better with it. Notice that. Notice that you can be not good at something. You can do something different, and it's not as bad as it used to be. I used to be miserable doing my self-employment taxes and that because I just had all this fear of the registry type of thing. But practicing it and getting better habits has made it so much easier. Now, am I, running yippee skippy to get, am I excited to do my taxes? No. However, it's going to feel so good when it's done. There we go. Yeah, okay, KK, okay, yeah. I need to get better with throwing away junk mail, okay? So notice that. Throw away some junk mail today. Notice how it feels. You can do it. And I'm, as you know, I did a video about being at my mother's house a couple weeks ago, and she got so many charity things, pissed me off. So junk mail in the recycles. Thank you. And thank you, Picky. I am feeling a little bit better. I realized myself, maybe you notice it. I feel a little bit congested, but much better than yesterday. So thank you. Okay. There we go. Christina says, sorting through the second room. Go, Christina. Christina is one of my one-on-one clients. Beth, thank you for taking out drama. I can't believe myself. Yes. Drama is the story we tell ourselves. And notice, this is kind of fun. When you talk about your clutter, are you being dramatic? Are you being like, oh my gosh, my whole house, my entire house, my life is cluttered. I can't do anything. I've got so much stuff. It's so hard. Like any of those dramatic words, where you'd be like on the fainting couch, like, oh, I can't even. That can be temporarily fun to say, oh, I can't even. But then you're stuck in a cluttered house with a dramatic story. I suggest quieting down the drama and saying, you know what? You know what to do here. I know if you don't, I'm your coach. I will suggest things to you. When you quiet down the drama keeps you stuck. The love in your heart for yourself and the life you want, and the white life you want to live can help you get started. Okay. Oh, interesting. See, Chrissy is noticing about herself. I noticed that if I don't like a cleaning product, I am not going to clean as much. Yeah, finding things that work for you, finding processes, finding cleaning materials, finding systems that work for you. Ideally, when I coach, I try to make it easier for you. I am always there about ease because, frankly, I don't want you to spend all of your life decluttering your home. I want you to get started now. I want to help you reduce the amount of clutter that is built up over the decades. And then once that is, and at the same time you're going through that and kind of weeding out what you want and what you don't want and decreasing that kind of pile of clutter, I also want you to get curious about and change incrementally the habits that got you cluttered, the habits that are keeping you cluttered. Or once because this may have happened to you before, the giant pile of stuff, you knock that down. But if you don't change your daily habits, it's going to pile up again. Okay? I love it. 8-9 designs. Yes, the fainting couch. I'm always thinking, every time I do that, I'm thinking of like the little Edward Gorey mystery on PBS type of thing. Like, oh, like I can't even. I'm so overwhelmed. So There we go. Jen says, you just got me to sort my mail before work. Jen, thank you for giving me the credit, but I'm just going to lovingly give that right back to you. Thank you. But you know what you did? You got yourself doing it. And you know what maybe all it took was to temporarily quiet down what I call your backseat drivers. Those unhelpful voices saying, oh, I can't, I'll do it later, you know? And then you listened to when you can have better words going through your head. And maybe right now you have better words through your head because they're being spoken from me and you're listening to them. Notice the difference in how you feel, and then notice the difference in what you do. Now, I show up temporarily in your life to just show you the power of the words in your head to cause you to feel a certain way and then do a certain thing. And as your coach, it's almost like a new language. We stop the unhelpful stuff, we quiet that down, and then you start the opposite. Now, trust me, this is not all yippee skippy and things like that. Like, oh, I just have to think positively. Kinda, yeah, but no. But noticing the content of what your backseat drivers, those unhelpful thoughts, are based in fear. What am I afraid of? No, then figuring out what I'm afraid of, looking and saying, oh, is that what I'm afraid of? Of getting into trouble, of, you know, not living up to somebody's expectations, all those things. Now what I know what I'm dealing with, then I can create. And oftentimes you need to create. You need to be like, what's the opposite thought? The unhelpful thoughts come unbidden all the time in your brain. You can't do that. It's too late. You're too old. There's too much stuff here. You know, you did it before and you failed. Those are thoughts that make you feel discouraged, and then you don't even try anymore. What I want to say is pause those with love, not pissed off, but okay, shh, quiet. Quiet. That's not helpful. I'm going to start to think something else that makes me feel different. When I feel different, I do different. There we go. There we go. Christy C. Jump says, it's so awesome you popped up on my FYP. I was procrastinating my upstairs. Okay, so we've got about 20 or so minutes. Why don't you go upstairs and just look around, even literally, you guys, even going into a room that you've been afraid of going into because it's so cluttered, walking into that room and just sitting there and looking at things and not being judgmental about it is a very powerful first step. And don't underestimate it. All the steps are important. Walking into the room you haven't walked into and then saying to yourself, I can do something about this. That's a game changer, you know? I love it. Barbara's saying, my old middle school had a dumpster to recycle paper. I find joy shredding, not needed papers for it. Yeah. You know, I don't really like the process of shredding. I almost said shedding. Shredding. I have like 4 bags in my basement of my old paperwork and my mother's, but I'm waiting for a shredding event in my town. The resources available to you to get rid of your stuff are going to vary from where you live. And also, like some people do like that kind of zen, you know, zoop, filing my stuff. I would rather spend my time doing something else. So I found another way to get rid of that stuff. You know? Okay, Casey Kim Walker, notice this. I walk in and feel the wind knocked out of me. Okay? How about this? You can do something as simple as go in there, temporarily notice the feeling of the wind knocked out of you, but then do something different. Instead of having it blow you back out because it's the wind knocked out of you, go in there, feel that feeling, and then take a few deep breaths. Notice that kind of overwhelm and then calming down. The very first thing I said was breathing down. Breathing down. When you go in there, it pretty much activates your nervous system. Your nervous system, the feeling part of your body, and when that's activated, you probably are breathing more shallow. Your focus, you get like in the fight or flight mode. So paying attention to how that stuff makes you feel, and then doing the opposite. Even walking in there and taking a few deep breaths is probably going to be different than what you've done before. So experiment with that. Okay. I'm looking at myself. Wow, what a mess. Okay, but you know what? Messes can be cleaned up. Clutter can be dealt with. Notice every time you judge yourself. Wow, what a mess. Can you imagine if I came into your house and was like, wow, what a mess? That would discourage you, you know? But seriously, yes, I will try this today. And for everybody, anytime you feel overwhelmed, that's your body responding to something. It's like having a cat and the cat gets shocked, like, a loud noise. Wow, their hair goes zing. And when you realize that noise isn't anything bad, it was just something random, you can pet them, you can calm them down. We are human, we are creatures ourselves. We get triggered by something, a bang in the other room, like, ah, and you try to protect yourself. But then when you say, wait a minute, is this anything that's really going to cause my death? And unless you're being dramatic, the answer is no. So calming down, slowing down, quieting down, breathing down, writing down, chunking down, all the downs, as I like to say. Okay? Yeah, see, there are efforts you've made to organize, and maybe you just don't have some good systems. That's one of the things I love, is I love to take the drama out of it and show you that it really is just, what is this thing? Do I want it? If I want it, where's a better place for it? If I don't want it, what is a better place? Lather, rinse, repeat. Now, there are obviously some more subtleties in that, how to get you started and all that, but it can be as simple as that, Just put my embroidery projects in multiple project bags. Container store is my new favorite. Interesting. I like organizing things as much as the next person, but I will admit to you, when I go to the Container Store, I get overwhelmed because, frankly, I think that they if you think about it, they profit on selling you a whole bunch of solutions for things that you probably have a lot of the solutions already in your home. You don't need to be as organized as that. You can decide how organized you are, but I want to keep it simple so that it's easy for you. It's easy. It's easy to look around and feel delight when you're going through your house. It's easy to feel like things are easy, and it's easy to find things in your home. Okay. What else do we have here? Yeah, you know what, Casey Kim Walker, notice that ADD, and that's one of the reasons I brought up the Container Store, is notice that reaction that you're buying a solution externally. I'm going to the Container Store. I'm going to buy something that's going to solve it. But if it doesn't work, notice how you buy the stuff, but that's as far as it goes. What I teach you about is getting unstuck so you get started. And I want to offer to everybody, and I say this because clutter can cost you money. Think of all the stuff that you have purchased to create your less cluttered life. If you're using it, that's great, but notice that if you're not using it, or it hasn't worked, or the stuff keeps on getting cluttered, start from the inside. Now, I would say that's free. I mean, working on yourself can be free, but also that's what my paid coaching is. So before you start to look for an external solution, if you've done that before and it hasn't worked, it's because the answer is in here. Okay? Yeah. My ADH hyperfixation, and now I have organization clutter. And here's the deal. I work with people with ADHD all the time. I have it in my family. Who knows? I probably have it myself. I haven't been diagnosed. So I say to you, there's absolutely nothing wrong with the way your brain works, but you have habits that get you in a certain way. You get hyperfixated, you all excited, you buy all the things, but then you're like, now I don't know what to do. Now I don't feel like doing this. The excitement, like that peak of adrenaline and dopamine has now crashed, and I don't know what to do. Okay? Excuse me. I love it. Daily Pay with Ramalis says, I'm working on packing up some NASCAR stuff that I inherited from my brother and giving it to his sons. What a great idea. Yeah. Oh, trust me. The Container Store is considered one of the best employers in the country. I wouldn't put it past them. Trust me, if I had to go back to retail, because I worked retail for decades, I actually applied for them. God, it was almost like 20 years ago when we first moved here, but they were closing down. I don't think they're a bad company. What I'm saying is, and sometimes I've gone there to find the specific solution for a problem that I need, but until you go through your stuff, you don't know what kind of containers you need. You haven't made a decision. It would be like going out and buying a bookcase, but you don't know how many books you have. Gathering your items together and making a decision, saying, do I really want all these books, just makes buying a better container easier, okay? There we go. Cat Roby says, clearing cluttered email while sitting with you and my cats today. Notice how, with some encouragement, with some quieting down of the unhelpful thoughts that come 24/7 unbidden, like that kind of stream, constant chatter in your head, when you can disrupt them, when you can quiet those down, and then what you hear is either quiet, which happens very rarely in my brain, or more helpful words. Notice my words give you a feeling, and when you feel better, you're doing better. Okay. Stephanie says, I don't have anywhere to put anything, and I'm poor, so can't buy the proper furniture to put stuff. You don't need to buy stuff right away. You can go get a cardboard box and store things in a cardboard box. I actively discourage people from thinking that the solution is external. I want to empower you that you have somewhere to put something. And regardless of how much money you make, you don't have to buy the proper furniture to put things in. There's no proper furniture. There's different things. You can get things for free. You can get things at a thrift store. But instead of going out, notice notice this propensity for many people to go look for a solution externally and buying something. That is because we live in a capitalist, consumerist society that says, don't work on yourself, go external, buy my thing to solve your problem. Now, sometimes buying things will make your problems easier. Like, for example, plastic totes. Like, I have a couple of plastic totes I bought at Target. They're like $5 a piece. That makes it easier for me to organize stuff. So I'm not saying there's no place for it, but to get started, you don't need to buy a damn thing. What you need to do is quiet down your nervous system, tell yourself a better story, and then do something. There are people that are poor that are decluttered, and there's absolutely no shame about any of this. But notice your stories that are keeping you stuck. You can stop them. You can interrupt them. Interrupt that pattern of telling yourself the same thing over and over again. Stop that. Mix it up. Consciously create a better thought in your head that makes you feel better, because when you feel better, you do better. Yeah. Yes, interesting. Ruby Shooter says, my aha moment. Someone said, you can't organize and declutter at the same time. It's kind of like when you're writing, because I've written books before. I used to write travel guides, writing and editing at the same time. Right, you need to, as I say, especially with, what do you call it? Surface, I gotta do myself, surface, stored, sentimental. With the stored and sentimental is you gotta sort it before you store it. You even going through your stuff, going through the stuff that you have. Somebody says Espresso Queen is asking if I collect. So I am what I call jokingly a recovering collector. If you go to my YouTube channel and see some of the pop-up TikTok lives that I've done where they're not scheduled, but I've just popped up, I often do my pop-up ones around the house. And you'll see different rooms of my house. And in the background, you'll see stuff that I have collected in the past. Nowadays, I collect very few things because I'm happy with the quality and quantity of what I have. I also don't get the joy of collecting that I used to, and that's okay. I'm onto something different. But even if you collect things, the best collections are the ones that are curated, the ones that only contain your favorites, a lot of wheat and not a lot of chaff. Okay? Yep. Okay, there, yeah. So there's the shelf behind me. So what have I got here? I've got that's a picture I took, got some stuff I collected, yada yada. And here's the fun thing. Talk about buying stuff to use. I started collecting these little train cases because I thought they were cute. It reminded me of vintage, I like vintage stuff, but I store things in those things. I've got cords in one. I probably have cassette tapes in another. I know I've got some costume jewelry in some of those things. So yeah, and as Milena says, collect memories. Right. Notice that some of the sentimental stuff that you have is physical items that tell you a story. Oh, this is that mug that so-and-so used to drink out of. That thing belonged to my grandmother. But just get curious about this. Is there a different way that you can save that story and not have the thing? Okay? So notice that. And I'm telling you, it's so funny. I'm like, yeah, is impulse buying your enemy? Well, yeah, if you think about it, impulse, that's like, ooh, I want to get that. And stopping the impulse, you can still do it, but taking a beat, pausing, that gap between the automatic habit that gets you cluttered, it's like a fork in the road. You get to a point where normally you would just pick that up because it's lime green and I like lime green things. But do I need another spatula? The answer is no. So you find yourself at that place and then you do something different. You go off in another direction that's going to lead you to your destination decluttered. Okay. Now, really quick, we've got about 10 minutes left, and I just want to remind you, first of all, if we just met, and I see a few people have joined the Destination Decluttered email mailing list, if you'd like to join that, first of all, it's free. Second of all, I do not spam you. Pretty much what you'll get is maybe a couple of 3 times a month, I will send out a notification, basically giving everybody on the mailing list a heads up of stuff that's happening that people on TikTok I haven't learned about. So that's usually a free Zoom call. We have a free group Zoom that happens once a month. We just had it last night, so the next one will be in March. So plenty of time to get on the mailing list. Also, I schedule my TikTok lives. And so you get the TikTok live schedule long before I ever kind of post a video and pin it to the top of my TikTok page. The other thing too is with my consultations. Consultation is how you and I start to work together with doing one-on-one coaching. That's my paid coaching. DestinationDecluttered.com/join. When you get on the mailing list, you also get notified as to when I have added some consultation slots to my calendar. And then also, it was actually interesting. So I do occasionally will do also free workshops on how to organize your time, different things like that. I haven't done one recently. We'll see what it's like. I do things kind of, I love creating a life that I do things the way I want when I want to do them. But you also get invited to those free things. And that's how I run my business right now. I love it. I love what I do. I love the people I work with. I love seeing their results, and I love sharing this information because it's foolish for me to gatekeep it. I can't, over improve my life with these things, but I can improve the world by sharing with you what I have learned so that you can have, kind of in that Fabergé organic shampoo commercial type of thing. Hello, I'm a Gen Xer who speaks in total like pop culture. I two friends and you tell two friends and so on and so on. Making people feel better about their stuff. Making people increase, helping them increase the quality of their life, decreasing the amount of stuff, increasing the quality, and increasing the amount of time you have to spend on the things that you truly enjoy doing, or the things that you like to create that nobody else can. If you're always in declutter mode, you're never getting to the things that made you the unique person that got onto this planet. Okay? So yes, if you want to get on the email mailing list, DestinationDecluttered.com/join. I hope that helps. Okay, there we go. Ruby Shooter, oh my God, time organization. My coworkers need this. Yeah, because here's the funny thing. Notice if you catch yourself saying, well, I could declutter, but I just don't have the time. I just don't have the time. Or I'm exhausted when I get home from work. No, trust me. I'm not going to tell you you're not exhausted when you come home from work, but what I will suggest is even 5 minutes of decluttering a day is going to get you less cluttered than you were at the beginning of the week. Saying you're going to do something up here, but if you're not doing it, you haven't scheduled it, is probably one of the reasons why your house it could be one of the reasons why you are cluttered, because you have a list of things to do, but you haven't kind of put it on your, haven't kind of made a roadmap. Okay. Yeah. LPK 062 says, I'm really curious where I can find more information about psychologically why we get attached to things. The internet is your friend. The library, do it. But get curious about this. It's fun to research the theory, but put your theory into practice. We can be in research mode, feels like you're doing something, but you're not really doing it. It's like, oh, look at me, I'm researching it. I want to know, before I even start, I want to know what this came from. All that's doing is delaying you from taking action, there we go. Yeah, that's what I'm always saying to somebody. I have no time. You do have time. You do have time. At the time that you've been on this TikTok, and that's why I always encourage people to use the time that I'm on to remind yourself I do have time. But time is the thing that you never get back. No matter how much money you have, it will never be, 8:52 on Thursday, February 22nd. Again, that moment has passed. None of us ever get that time back. And the more time that passes, the less amount of time you have ahead of you on this planet. Now, I am a life coach, so I talk about death because that is one thing that's guaranteed ahead of us. So before you get to death, what kind of quality of life do you want before you're giving up the ghost? And none of us know when we're going to leave. So the sooner you get started, the sooner you're just living a life that feels good. Notice the people who have said that they've done some of the decluttering on this TikTok, live TikTok, is they say, I did this thing to get myself decluttered and it feels so good. Cue the Chuck Mangione, right? There we go. I love it. Daily Pay says, thank you. You have helped me so much in getting my house less cluttered. Yes, I'm glad what I'm doing is working. I love what I do. I know what it's like to be cluttered, and boy, is it so much better on the other side. It is so much easier in so many ways to be less cluttered. Now, I will say this, my house isn't always looking perfect. If I'm always thinking of Snoop Dogg and Martha Stewart, ringing the doorbell and coming in. I got home from traveling a couple of nights ago and I fell sick and I wasn't feeling well. So yeah, my suitcase is, it rarely is, but my suitcase is still closed and it's on the floor in the bedroom. When I feel better, I'm going to do better. I will unpack that. But when you're not feeling so great, you're not going to do so great. So take the steps to feel better. Now, if you're physically sick, maybe you just want to rest. But if you are kind of not feeling so good about what you're doing, that's inside work. You can do that. Okay? There we go. Yeah, feels amazing. It's the only reason I do it. I have absolutely no interest in your house looking like a generic magazine shoot. I want your house to reflect you and your life and how you live and what interests you. But I also want it to be easy for you to find the things you're looking for, to find the best tool for the job, to easily find it, easily use it, easily put it away. And that's anything from the stuff in your kitchen to the stuff in your bedroom to the stuff in the hall closet, whatever. Easy, easy, easy. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. I also want it to be easy for you to, again, not spend so much freaking time always maintaining your house. If you are doing that, it means that the systems you have in place could be probably made more efficient. And I mean efficient in a good way. I mean it like taking a smaller amount of time to get your house feeling good so that you, again, can go out and you can live your life and do the things that you want to do. Now, I will say when I say that, people, I think, get scared and they're like, I don't know what I want to do. That's okay. That's what life coaching helps you to. You do know what to do. You know so much more than you give yourself credit for. You do. You are no dumb bunny. You haven't gotten to this place in your life where you've learned some stuff, got you here, but when you are strategic and you say, well, this is how far I've gotten with the information that I know. So if I want to continue where I am, I can just stay right here. But if I want to go somewhere else, I'm going to need to learn different skills. I'm going to need to do different things. I'm going to experiment with what works and what doesn't. I did the same thing when I decided I wanted to coach. I thought, I know a certain amount right now, but I don't know about coaching. So what did I do? I paid money to get coaching certification. So I learned a process that I didn't know before, but now that has helped me because now I'm more comfortable with helping people because I have skills. Same thing with my one-on-one coaching. Okay? There we go. Athena Briggs says, thank you. I got close hung up while listening to you. They've been sitting there for weeks. So doesn't it feel good? Doesn't that feel good? And I didn't do it. This is the wonderful thing. Just notice, please. Notice. That's my word. But just seriously, being aware. Notice what happened in the last hour or so, because I am talking in a positive, can-do, encouraging manner, a helpful manner, from love and curiosity and encouragement. This is how I show up. Notice what a difference it made for you to do something that you were dreading doing or dragging your feet prior to that. It's not magic. You've quieted down your backseat drivers and you have listened to some better words, and those better words make you feel better. And when you feel better, you're more likely to do better. Okay? So we've got about 2 minutes left here. I'm going to hop into a day of coaching and consultations. I'm happy to let people know that I am feeling better than yesterday, so yay for that. But here's the last thing. If you are interested in me being your one-on-one coach, destinationdecluttered.com. I have a fairly full schedule, but I work Monday through Friday, Eastern time, usually between literally like 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. There are slots available on my calendar. Now, there will become a point where I am a single person. I do this, so I may max out. But I just want to offer you, right now, can you imagine 10 weeks from now, even a week from now, if you signed up for coaching, the difference in your life, knowing somebody's there with you, teaching you skills, encouraging you. Okay? That's what my coaching's all about. And let's see. Yay, look at me. I did my TikTok live for an hour today. Didn't think I would do it yesterday. Tomorrow I'm doing a TikTok live as well. What I want to offer to you is, I offer and I say notice, those are my words I tend to fall into, is go to my website. Yeah, that's cool, to sign up for the mailing list or to schedule for a consultation. But also my TikTok page. If you haven't followed it, could you follow it, please? Getting the word out makes it so that my message is amplified to more people who are struggling with clutter, who don't even know that there's something to help them. The other thing too is pinned to the top of my TikTok page is the schedule for the next time I'm doing a TikTok live. Take a look at that and you'll know when to show up. Also, those of you on the email mailing list, you know that I might be doing some this weekend. I might not be. You're going to find that out. Okay? I love it. Robin said, watered the plants, folded the laundry, cleaned the kitchen, and put away important papers. Thank you. You are welcome. But you know what? You did that. All right? You guys, you can do so much more than you give yourself credit for. Let that sink in today and have it inspire you to take action and drive towards your destination decluttered. Okay? I'll see you later. Bye.